Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where we're covering Superman 87 with the first story, The Thing from 40,000 AD. Yes, a story that does kind of feel like it's inspired by The Thing. It is a big, like 1950s sci-fi horror comic story, so I'm really into that. I actually do really like this story. Not one of my favorites, but I think it's a good story for what it is, which is all I've been asking for with these not particularly very well written Superman comics that are basically written to be thrown away almost instantly, is something that's at least fun and not just repetitive. But first, you might be noticing that I just did an action comic, and now I'm back to Superman. Usually I do two action comics, usually covering the two action comics from the 2 months that Superman usually covers, except for a few months at the beginning of 1954, Superman seemed to be coming out every month. There was like a Superman issue every month. It had been coming out bi-monthly, as in every other month, but it was coming out once a month, essentially turning into a regular series, and then it stops by the time it turns to summer. But we're getting close to Superman being once every month comic. I don't know why specifically in 1954 this seemed to happen, but going off of the release dates I'm finding, it was coming out once a month there for a little bit. So we jump right to the Superman story. So what's happening in this one? A blob-like creature that's able to shapeshift like the Thing. Now you might be thinking the Blob meets the Thing because I said it's a blob-like creature, but the original Thing came out in 1951. The original Blob with Steve McQueen did not come out till 1958. It is 1954, possibly 53, depending on exactly when the story came out. It's dated February 1954. So at least came out around January of 1954, but definitely the Blob has not come out yet. So this Thing has been shot from the future, 40,000 AD, because it committed crimes in the future. Here's the thing. It never feels like it's doing anything nefarious. Everything it's doing and the crimes it's committing is to get back to the future. And by the end of the story, it is trying to kill Superman, but Superman's more or less in its way of getting home. What I'm saying is I don't feel like this creature is all that evil. A jerk, yes. But I didn't feel like anything it was doing up until it's sort of protecting itself against Superman felt all that evil. I don't know where this creature came from. I don't know its backstory. Maybe in the future everybody was a dick to it. I don't know. You feel like that's me complaining, but no, I just don't feel like it's that much of an evil or a massive danger. It is sort of building a nuclear device, an atomic device to send itself back in the future, and that could possibly, destroy a bunch of things, but that's never really set up. So, like, the stakes with it are very low, and not low in the way I like when it's Superman just helping people or saving people or changing people. But it is at least an interesting threat. So the Blob can shapeshift, and by the cover you know that it's possibly turning into Clark Kent. And you suspect a sort of story where it turns into Clark Kent, Superman has to fight Clark Kent, this helps whatever suspicion Lois has for the issue. It's a default story. In fact, the recent issue I've read and will be covering in like 2 weeks or so involved a story where an alien takes over the identity of Clark Kent, and Lois being suspicious that Clark Kent is Superman now with those superpowers, even though it's not Clark Kent in the first place. That's not whatever happens. No one ever sees Superman fight Clark Kent. Instead, it's more Superman just kind of fighting things. That actually is a disappointment. You kind of want the moment where Superman just flies in and beats Clark Kent in front of Lois and Perry, like we were kind of promised. It's not a huge negative impact on the story. I just think it would have been something a little more interesting to have portrayed, especially when we expect it. Now, the actual fight is a little more interesting than that. The Blob can apparently take on the abilities or attributes of whatever it changes shape into. So when it turns into Superman, it should have Superman's powers. But the way Superman ends up defeating it, killing it essentially, is to lead it to a H-bomb test. Yeah, you heard me right. There's one happening near Metropolis. Should that not be happening near a large city? But when the bomb goes off, Superman survives, but the Blob doesn't. But if the Blob gained the attributes of Superman, shouldn't it have survived the explosion? And it's never that hard to tell because it has that healthy sort of atomic nuclear glow, that radioactive glow Superman had in the last issue. Everything it shape changes into has that glow. More as a visual representation for us to understand who's different than it, say, being radioactive or like emitting something. But hey, Superman fights an actual threat to him. So yeah, we'll take that when we can get it. Instead of Superman just completing 3 tasks that barely even register as a thing he's doing. So yes, I do like the thing from 40,000 AD. It's not a strong story, but I want more stories like this where it's just Superman handling something that is maybe out of his depth or within his depth, but to the extremes of his depth. Okay, that is it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Fridays is Bat Friday, where I cover a Batman story and other detective comics or Batman. And until next time, let's ponder the question, whatever did happen to the Man of Tomorrow? And they should really have brought back the Blob. The Blob is an interesting villain. It is basically like the Chameleon, just not the Chameleon Superman already fought. Oh god, I forgot about that Chameleon until I just said that out loud. Okay, have a great day.